Hello, everyone. I am Golda, and I'm the Library Sales and Marketing Director at Norton. Since I can't show you books in person at ALA this summer, I am recording some Book Buzz videos. This one is all about our recent and forthcoming nonfiction titles for adults. I also recorded a separate video for fiction and poetry, and a video for children's and teen books. And I will link to both of those videos in the descriptions. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at www.nortonlibrary. We have a lot of digital review copies on Edelweiss and NetGalley, and I'm also putting links to our newsletter sign up and to our catalogs and resources in the description for the video, and you are welcome to email me if you have any questions. I hope you are all doing as well as you can be, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me talk about books. Another new place to find out about new and forthcoming books is on the Alma Book Buzz channel. A group of publishers teamed up to produce a series of videos. Each video has 3 or 4 different publishers talking about one book each, so they're not too long and you get a lot of variety. We will have videos posted each Tuesday through July, and then we'll take a break. And now for the books. I'm starting with Norton and Liveright, and then I'll give you highlights from our distributed publishers. I had such a hard time narrowing down the list of titles to present, so I urge you to check out our full catalogs on Edelweiss, which I will link in the description. If you ever wondered where the term Stockholm Syndrome originated, you probably never imagined a story like this. 6 Days in August tells the truly bizarre crime story of the 6-day hostage crisis and media circus that began with a group of men walking into a bank in Stockholm in 1973, wearing wigs, makeup, and sunglasses, brandishing submachine guns, and shouting, "The party starts!" How did it go from there to the hostages trusting their captors more than the authorities trying to rescue them? You have to read this riveting story to find out. Library Journal recently called it engrossing, well-researched, and tailor-made for true crime enthusiasts. If Then by Jill Lepore traces the history of a corporation that wanted to use technology to predict and manipulate human behavior. Sounds a little familiar, right? Before Facebook, before Cambridge Analytica, Google, or Amazon, there was the Simulmatics Corporation. Jill Lepore unearthed the almost unbelievable story of this long-vanished corporation and of the people hidden behind it. In the 1950s and 60s, Lepore argues, Simulmatics invented the future by building the machine in which the world now finds itself. The Selected Works of Audre Lorde is a definitive selection of Audre Lorde's prose and poetry for a new generation of readers. Self-described Black, lesbian, mother, warrior, poet, Audre Lorde is an unforgettable voice in 20th century literature, and one of the first to center the experiences of Black queer women. This essential reader showcases her indelible contributions to intersectional feminism, queer theory, and critical race studies in 12 landmark essays and more than 60 poems, selected and introduced by one of our most powerful contemporary voices on race and gender, Roxane Gay. I will admit that I did not know who Sid Meier is, but when this book was first presented in early launch meetings, you could tell who the gaming fans in the room were because their faces just lit up. Sid Meier is the creator of the game Civilization, which has sold over 50 million units. This memoir gives you a behind-the-scenes look at his life and how he made his passion into a career. Writing with warmth and humor, Meier describes the genesis of his influential studio Microprose, founded in 1982, and recounts the development of landmark games, from vintage classics like Pirates and Railroad Tycoon to Civilization and beyond. Meier also shares his perspective on the history of the industry, the psychology of gamers, and fascinating insights into the creative process, including his rules of good game design. The Dead Are Arising is the life's work of Les Payne. For this landmark biography, he interviewed as many of Malcolm X's family, friends, and important figures in his life as he could. It was his mission to separate the facts from fiction and correct any mistakes from the accepted narratives of Malcolm X's life. Les Payne was nearly finished with the book before he died. His daughter, Tamara, was his lead researcher, and she worked to complete the biography and help bring it to publication. We think this will become the definitive biography of Malcolm X. We first published Ali Soufan's book in 2011, and there were large parts of text that we had to black out because of the CIA. But now we are allowed to publish the book unredacted with the black banners declassified. The book shows Soufan at work using guile and intelligent questioning instead of force or violence to extract some of the most important confessions in the war, and it vividly recounts the failures of the government's torture program. Drawing on Soufan's experiences as a lead operative for the FBI and declassified government records, the Black Banners Declassified documents the intelligence failures that led to the tragic attacks on New York and Washington, D.C., and subsequently how torture derailed the fight against al-Qaeda. With this edition, the public can finally read the complete story of what happened after the events of September 11th. Human bone is versatile and entirely unique. It repairs itself without scarring, it's lightweight but responds to stresses, and it's durable enough to survive for millennia. In Bones, orthopedic surgeon Rory Meals explores this amazing material that both supports and records vertebrate life. Meals examines the biological makeup of bones, demystifies how they grow, break, and heal, and compares the particulars of human bone to variations throughout the animal kingdom. In clear prose, he debunks familiar myths and illustrates common bone diseases like osteoporosis and arthritis and their treatments. Along the way, he highlights the medical innovations that enhance our lives and introduces the giants of orthopedic surgery who developed them. The Man Who Ate Too Much by John Birdsall is the first biography of James Beard in 25 years. Acclaimed writer John Birdsall argues that Beard's struggles as a closeted gay man directly influenced his creation of an American cuisine. Starting in the 1920s, Beard escaped loneliness and banishment by traveling abroad to places where people ate for pleasure, not utility, and then found acceptance at home by crafting an American ethos of food built on passion and delight. The Man Who Ate Too Much is full of details of the time and is a commanding portrait of a towering figure who still represents the best in food. Claire Massoud is well known for her novels, The Burning Girl, The Woman Upstairs, and The Emperor's Children, among others. Kant's Little Prussian Head and Other Reasons Why I Write includes 29 essays about her writing and personal stories about her childhood moves from Connecticut to Australia and back. She meditates on Albert Camus, Teju Cole, and Valeria Luiselli, and tours her favorite paintings at Boston's Museum of Fine Arts. Altogether, the book crafts a vivid portrait of a life in celebration of the power of art and literature. With his new book, 10 Lessons for a Post-Pandemic World, CNN host and best-selling author Fareed Zakaria helps readers to understand the nature of a post-pandemic world, the political, social, technological, and economic impacts that may take years to unfold. In the form of 10 straightforward lessons covering topics from globalization and threat preparedness to inequality and technological advancement, Zakaria creates a structure for readers to begin thinking beyond the immediate impacts of COVID-19 and looks at how we can reshape our future. Mistrust by Ethan Zuckerman. Americans and citizens of democracies worldwide are losing confidence in the system. This loss of faith has spread beyond government to infect a broad swath of institutions, the press, corporations, digital platforms, none of which seem capable of holding us together. How should we encourage participation in public life when neither elections nor protests feel like paths to change? Drawing on work by political scientists, legal theorists, and activists in the streets, Ethan Zuckerman offers a lens for understanding civic engagement that focuses on efficacy, the power of seeing the change you make in the world. Mistrust is a guidebook for those looking for new ways to make change, as well as a fascinating explanation of how we've arrived at a moment where old ways of engagement are failing us. My next book is full of design tips, and you might even find some inspiration that you can use to influence the behavior of your library users, though I won't make any promises on that. A shiitake is a trigger for behavioral change to solve social or personal problems. Combining traditional Japanese aesthetics with the lessons of behavioral economics, Matsumura presents a toolkit for anyone who wants to create their own mindful designs and reveals how shiitakes can help us address challenges of any size, including even climate change. Norton Professional Books is our imprint of books for professionals in the mental health fields and in education. Their authors have been doing a lot of webinars and virtual events since March, really trying to help professionals deal with our changing world. And I would encourage you to check out their Twitter feeds for more updates. Most of my Tin House titles are in the fiction and poetry video, but they do have one nonfiction title coming out this August. The Book of Atlantis Black is a combination of memoir and true crime. Betsy's sister, who was a musician who went by the name Atlantis Black, disappeared and was supposedly found dead in a Tijuana hotel room. The description and photos didn't completely match Atlantis, and the police didn't take DNA samples before the body was cremated. So Betsy wondered if the body was actually her sister and what actually happened in that hotel room. Digging through social media posts, DEA agent testimony, video surveillance, police reports, and various moments from memory, Bonner finds questions that lead to only more questions, leaving her to decide how far she will go to understand a sister who might prove impossible to find. Countryman Press is an imprint of Norton that publishes beautiful cookbooks and guides to everything from mixing drinks and baking pies to hiking and exploring the country. The well-known explorer's guides are a staple of the travel section, and Countryman has expanded in recent years to include books on nature, country living manuals, narrative nonfiction, fitness and exercise, reference, pets, and humor. They even have a sort of a travel guide to cities that you find in video games in the book coming this fall called Virtual Cities. Thames & Hudson is an internationally renowned publisher of illustrated books on art, architecture, history, design, photography, fashion, travel, spirituality, and archaeology. They also have a children's book line that I talk about in the Children's Book Buzz video. Norton is just starting to distribute Abbeville Press this summer. They were founded in 1977, and their list includes art, photography, and lifestyle books of the utmost quality, as well as several titles for children and parenting from the Abbeville family imprint. Abbeville publishes the best-selling Expectant Father series by Armin Brott, as well as other best-selling titles like Audubon's Birds of America, Ancient Trees, Portraits of Time, and the Tiny Folios franchise. Norton has kids' books. Yes, we started a Norton Young Readers imprint last year, and we also distribute kids' books from Tilbury House, Thames & Hudson, Abbeville, and some of our other clients. So I mentioned at the beginning of this that I did a separate Book Buzz video talking about books for children and teens. So this is another reminder to check that out or share it with your youth services colleagues. So that was a lot of books, I know. I didn't even cover all of our titles, but I am putting links to our catalogs in the notes so you can see more information about each title. And again, we have digital review copies available to request for librarians, booksellers, and teachers on Edelweiss and NetGalley. And please email me if you have any questions. Thank you again for listening. I also want to say a sincere thank you for all of the hard work that you've been doing while your physical spaces have been closed. I've seen you ramping up your virtual events, using such amazing creativity to come up with new services for your library users, and just doing so much work behind the scenes that not even everyone can see. So I just wanted to say we appreciate you. We see what you're doing. And thank you so much for all of your work now and all of the work that you've always been doing for your communities. Thank you again for listening, and goodbye for now.